Hello there everyone, my name is Crazy Caleb, and today we are taking a look at another fairly simple module, double listening. So what this module looks like is it has a big play button and a series of five zeros and ones. You can toggle between both being zeros and ones, so obviously what this means is that we're going to be working with some form of binary. So let's figure out, number one, what this module does. So for those of you who haven't learned the original listening module, which has a series of these sounds, and I'm actually going to pop up the manual separately, I would highly recommend that you learn this one first, because this is obviously the simpler version of it, and it also uses these sounds in the module, so I'd recommend you definitely get used to them. Let's pop up the listening interactive. And let's go back to double listening. So the key with double listening here is so we have a black submit button up here in the top left. We have a big play button right here, and we have these little 5-digit binary codes. Pressing the play button will play two sounds from the classic listening module at the same time. So let's do this here. So now what we need to do is we need to figure out exactly what those sounds are. So obviously, since I know this module, and I recommend that you definitely get used to these sounds, otherwise this is going to be a very hard time for you. And it does note that that some of the sounds have had their volume adjusted to prevent them from downing others out. So I can use my knowledge, and I heard a helicopter in the background. And now what we're going to do is we're going to grab this five character code that we would normally input on the listening module using these little 4 symbols here. We're going to take each of these symbols, these 4 binary codes, or rather these four characters, whatever you call them, and we're going to essentially do some binary logic on them. We're going to perform a bitwise XOR. So let's actually figure out what our other sound was. That sounds like it might be the beach, I believe. Yes, that is the beach. It is important to also note that there's a big difference between beach and waterfall. Waterfall is a much more continuous sound, and beach is one that's coming closer and louder. Which, in this case, let's listen to it on the module. Yes, it's also a little bit shorter, too, on the waterfall. So let's copy this code, and we found our 2 symbols that we're going to be working with here. So what exactly do we do with this module? So once we figured out our 2 sounds, what do we need to do? We need to look at table A and figure out the first condition that applies, and let's figure this out. If the bomb has at least 3 batteries, and at least one of the sounds was beach or waterfall. The bomb has at least 3 batteries. It does indeed, and beach was one of our sounds. We can use this row, and this will be the first condition that applies. Notice that there are otherwise rules, so that we will not be using the rest of them. And what this gives us is what each of these symbols will be converted to in binary. So we have hashes are going to equal 0. So we only have one of those. That's going to be a 0. Dollar signs are also 0. And the AND symbol and the star or asterisk symbol are going to be both 1s. So we have the rest of our sequence is going to essentially be 1s. So now, once we have our little binary codes, what we need to do is perform a bitwise XOR operation on the 2-digit binary codes. And what we're going to do is we're going to do each of them individually based off of position. So what exactly is XOR, for those of you who are not familiar with the bitwise operator XOR? To perform a bitwise XOR operation, consider the digits of the 2 binary codes at one position at a time, like so. The result for each position is if a 1 is in the 2-digit codes are both different. The results for each position will result in a 1 if the 2 digits are both different. So in this case, 0 and a 1 are both different. So this would be a 1 but 1 and a 1 are not different, so that would be a 0. This is a 1, and the rest are 0, 0. And this is what we would input into the module. 1, 0, 1, 0, 0. Pressing the black submit.
Well done.
And just like that is a solved module. Let's take a look at another example. This module gets very simple once you understand the listening sounds, and it's a rather quite easy case. That sounded like the dial-up internet. That was a very nice and easy one to catch. As for that other sound, I heard sort of a clicking sound. I heard sort of a clicking sound, but not like that, almost. I think that's a reloading Glock. Yep, that's reloading Glock, because with the extractor fan, it makes sort of a clicking sound, but then you hear that that fan blow afterwards, so it's a reloading Glock. So now, since we have our two character codes, neither of the sounds were beach or waterfall. Let's check for the rest of the cases then. Do we have an empty port plate? Yes, we do. Indeed, we do. And so what we're going to do is replace all of the dollar signs and asterisks with 1. Let's do that. So 1, 1, 1, 1, and 1, and the rest hash marks and symbols with zeros. And performing XOR now, what we're going to be doing is 1, 1 is a 0, 0, 0 is a 0, 0, 1, they're both different, so that is a 1, and then the same thing, 1, 0, 1, and then 0, 0, they're both going to be 0. So only 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, black button, and submit. I'm sorry if my XOR definition was absolutely butchered, but I hope you guys understand that. Let's take a look at one final example. I already hear a sewing machine. Where is the sewing machine sound, just to make sure? Where is the sewing machine? That right there is the sewing machine. And let's figure out our second sound, because I quite didn't hear it. I think I hear a firework. Let me make sure. Where's the firework? That sounds like firework. Yeah. Very, very subtle difference of listening, but very subtle difference, a very subtle, rather, observation of fireworks exploding, but I was able to hear it, as you can listen to it again. We obviously know what the sewing machine sounds like, and then the fireworks exploding. So let's head back to the double listening. Neither of the sounds were beach or waterfall. Empty port plate. No. If the last digit of the serial number is odd, no it is not, so we're going to be looking at the otherwise rule. So all hashes and dollar signs will be 1s, and all ands and stars will be 0. It's actually looking quite nice. So both of our numbers need to be different for each position to equal 1, otherwise they will equal 0. So 1, 1 is 0, 0, 0 is 0, 0, 1 is 1, 0, 1 is 1, and 1, 0 is 1. So our last three positions will equal 1, and let's hit the submit button.
That is absolutely right.
Just like that is a solved module. As always, thank you guys for watching. I'm sorry for butchering that definition of XOR, but as long as you understand the concept of listening, which I highly recommend that you watch first, or mess around with first, and get used to the sounds as well, because you're going to struggle if you don't know the sounds. Get used to the sounds first before you tackle on double listening, because it's honestly not a good idea to do so. And yeah, as always, thank you guys for watching. Remember to stay crazy, stay cool, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.